Welcome back to Emotions and Potions.
A love/hate letter to. I'm Ashton.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome back to the Emotions and Potions podcast. We're so excited for this week's episode where we are hitting it hard with some mafia romance. Today we have a different mafia-esque book by Willow Winters called Dirty Dom. And it's part of a series, but it is a standalone.
Yep, Those Boys Are Trouble, the Valetti crime family series.
Yeah, and this is also on Kindle Unlimited. All books, I believe, are Kindle Unlimited, and then also the collection of all 5 books. Obviously, we're just talking about the first one, Dirty Dom, today. But if you're interested after listening to this pod,
it is a series of 5 total books.
And they're available Kindle Unlimited.
Willow Winters.
Willow Winters, yeah. All right, so should we jump into the synopsis of Dirty Dom?
Yeah, Ashton, kick us off with that synop.
All right, so from USA Today, best-selling author Willow Winters comes a hot mafia standalone romance. I'm not always proud of the man I am, but when you grow up in a crime family, there aren't a lot of options. I do what I have to do. More than often, I fucking love it. The power, the women, the money, all of it comes easy to me until Becca walked into my office. Everything about her was tempting. Her beautiful eyes that pierced into me, her body that was made for sin. She came to pay off a debt, but I wanted more. So I did what I've always done. I took what I wanted. She's a good girl who never should have walked through that door. I never should have touched her, but now that I have, I can't stop. I'll push her boundaries, she'll cave to the temptation. We'll both forget about the danger, and that's a mistake I can't afford. Dun, dun, dun!
Ooh, Dirty Dom.
So to give you a little bit more background into this book, it was published in 2017, and it's about 234 pages, so it's a shorter read.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
about right.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the synopsis goes with accuracy, and
that's a quick glimpse in. Doesn't give too much away. It doesn't spoil anything. Where we're about to spoil
everything.
All the things.
All of the things. So now that we've kind of talked about what this book is about, Alex, can you please bring us into the potion segment of Emotions and Potions?
Yes, I certainly can.
So what do we have today, girl?
All right, so this episode's potion is brought to you by Simply Divine Oil and Wine in the lovely Greenville, North Carolina.
Imported Buffalo, New York?
Yes.
What? Okay.
So this week I went with an Italian wine because the Valettis are a Italian crime family. So what better way than to celebrate this book than with some Italian wine? This is a Lambrusco Dell'Emilia. I'm not bothering
with that
with this bit. But the label's kind of cool. It's like it's a family sitting at the table with
their wine,
eating their Italian meal, maybe
pasta.
A taco.
Yeah, I see some pasta. Where?
Right there. Is that a taco?
That looks like a taco. Is that like some cheese? Yep. Olives, grapes,
something.
Yeah, I like that. I like the
but it gave me family vibes.
Yes.
Italian family vibes. And this is a red sparkling wine. It is a product of Italy. From Buffalo, New York, which we are big fans of the Buffalo. But this is going to be more of a semi-sweet red.
Woo, okay.
It's a little...
I hope I like it.
I'm
so picky. I hate it. I'm so sorry.
It's not a Moscato.
Oh, okay.
But it's not... It's not going into like cab.
Right. Ugh. Just smelling red wine makes me want to vomit.
It's sweeter than it smells.
Okay, that's good because this smells not sweet. Okay, that's not terrible. It's drinkable. It doesn't have that like burn that a cab does, but it has like, it's definitely drier than what I normally go for.
Mm-hmm. That's why it's like on the semi-sweet scale.
Yeah, no, but it has a good flavor. I could drink a glass of this. Like, I'll drink this throughout the pod.
Good. I think it's a good introduction into a drier wine if you like more sweet.
Okay. And for some reason I can definitely see Dirty Dom and Becca drinking their red sparkling wine at family dinner.
Here's to the Lambrusco.
Yes. Okay, Alex. Well done. I approve. Stamp of approval from Ash. Woo!
All right, so now we got some potions in us. Ashton, tell me about our characters of this book.
Yes. So we have Dom, Dirty Dom, and he is our male lead. So he's described as having dark hair, blue eyes, tall, built, roughly about 29. He's the oldest son in the Valenti crime family, so he would be next in line to be the Don, which is the head person of the family, of the mafia. However, he does not want this position. He's never really wanted this position, and he actually passes it on to his younger brother, Vince. He currently, with the family, does the books, and he has his own bookie business on the side. So he's very smart. He went to college. He has a degree in statistics, I believe. And then we have Becca, who is our lead female character. So she is described as, or depicted as having brown hair, green eyes, curvier, 31. She's also a single mom to her son, Jax. She owns a successful Italian restaurant. So she's an entrepreneur, boss lady, boss bitch. Her parents were killed in a car crash when she was younger. So this is kind of some trauma we see from her throughout the book regarding that. Her ex-husband, they were in the process of getting a divorce. Rick. He actually dies. He had a heart attack. But before that, him and Becca were actually in the motion of getting a divorce. Rick cheated on her, and she caught him. And he's also kind of scummy.
Very scummy.
Yeah, he tried to get custody of Jax. Like, he tried to get full custody and pretty much take him away from Becca. He also had a gambling problem and gambled away a lot of her money. And with all of those custody lawyer fees come from Becca and her business. So he's just really shitty. And she hasn't been treated well in a really long time. She's very independent and strong-willed. And then kind of to get into the familia, if you will, of Dom's family. So we have Vince, who is his younger brother. We have Dante, who is Dom's dad and who's also the Don. So he is the mafia boss.
Dante Don.
Dante Don. We also then have Linda, who's his mother, and Clara, who is his sister. And then we have some of the extended family. We have Johnny, who is Dom's employee, and he's kind of the muscle. He helps him along with like the bookie deals. He's kind of the one that leads the deals, and Dom is kind of like overseeing. We also have Jack, who is a long-term mafia member, who's like roughly about 40, like in his 40s, so middle-aged.
I feel like he probably is like got into the family because of Dante.
Yes. Yeah. Then we have Tommy and Anthony, who are both brothers, who are Dom's cousins, who are also involved in the mafia. Tommy is like an enforcer-esque type. He's the muscle. He goes out and collects. And then Anthony is like their assassin. He's the person that he tortures people to get information.
He's the one you really don't want to meet.
He's smart and he knows exactly how to get information from somebody. So yeah, if you see Anthony, not a good thing. You have Enzo, who is Dom's uncle.
And Tommy and Anthony's dad.
You have Jimmy, who's another cousin. And then Gino, who is Jimmy's son, who is roughly around the age of Jax. So those are kind of the main characters, people that we'll see kind of throughout this series and this book. So now that we've kind of gotten that out of the way, Alex, do you want to go into our plot summary? Tell us what Dirty Dom is about.
Before we get into plot summary, I do want to point out some content warnings and triggers for this book. We got some graphic sex, some dom-sub relationships, unprotected sex, death of parents and spouse, cheating, stalking, violence, kidnapping, torture, murder, and other illegal activities.
Yeah, sounds about. I think you got them all.
Sound about right?
I think so. I think you got them all.
And then some tropes within the book. You got insta lust, insta love,
Insta everything.
Insta all the things. Some BDSM, alpha male, mafia, happily ever after.
Yes. Yeah, that pretty much sums that up too.
So now, spoiler warning, I'm about to ruin this whole book.
Yep.
So our story starts off with Becca. Her husband, Rick, has recently died, and he has left her with all of his bookie and gambling debt. Becca goes to pay off the debt to Dom Valetti. Dom decides he's going to make Becca his.
You're mine.
You are mine.
Picture the Batman voice.
Yes. And he begins this by gathering all background profile information he can on Becca. Dom goes to Sunday dinner at his family's house, and this is where we discover he comes from a mafia family, though Dom does not take part of much of the mafia business. Dom starts plotting how to make Becca his girl, while Becca is struggling with dealing with her grief and anger at her dead ex-husband, being a single mom, a restaurant owner, and these sexual desires she has for Dom. Dom then shows up to Becca's home unannounced to make amends for their first encounter by trying to seduce her further.
Classic.
Sorry for the sex, let's have more sex.
I'm sorry about the sex earlier, but like, I want to have sex now again. So yeah.
But let's exchange names.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm Dom. Nice to meet you. Come on in, buddy.
Right? Throughout the book, Dom uses their sexual connection to sway Becca to realize that they should be together.
Red flag? Sorry.
Maybe.
When it's said like that, it sounds like a red flag.
Accurate statement, though. However, this leads to many hot and cold interactions with Dom and Becca, and we find out a rival mafia family is trying to cut into the Valetti business and territory. They've already sent someone to try and kill Dom, and their moves are escalating. This drives Dom to want to protect Becca and her son Jax, because he's worried about them. And he's also worried that this rival mafia may have seen Becca with him. So Dom returns to Becca's house the same evening to do a safety check on the house and property.
A safety check.
And, also spy on his girl. But safety check. After Becca and Jax's playdate guests leave, Dom invites himself inside yet again. And lets Becca know she belongs to him.
You are mine. Yep. Batman voice.
They go for round 2 for the day in the bedroom after Dom makes a comment about Becca's husband never fucking her like he does. She kicks him out again.
Warranted. Warranted.
Very warranted. Dom does realize he made a huge mistake with this, and he thinks he's lost his shot with Becca.
Womp womp.
She's having a really hard time emotionally with all the things.
Yeah, all of the things.
Rightfully so. So she decides to go to work, where she then gets kidnapped by the rival DeLuca Mafia.
On brand for mafia romance, there's always a kidnapping of some sort, so sorry, Becca. You're receiving that one.
Par for the course, sweetheart.
Yeah.
She gets badly beaten while they're asking her for information that she does not have on the Valettis, because literally she's just met Dom like 2 days ago.
She literally just learned his name like a day ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're barking up the wrong tree, and yeah, way to do your research. Not.
Dom did better research. Dom and his family do rescue her, and they take Becca and her son to his mother's house. After Becca gets looked over by a doctor, Dom informs her that she and Jax will be staying with him until the DeLucas are taken care of, meaning killed.
AKA.
AKA killed.
Also known as murder.
While having dinner with Dom's family and getting to know everyone and the dynamics of the family and the dynamics of being a part of a mafia family, Becca starts to wrestle with the idea of is this the life she wants for herself and ultimately for her son? even though she is starting to fall for Dom at this point. Dom and the family do finish off the DeLucas. And after this, Dom decides he wants to leave the family business so he can be with Becca. Becca then gets to return to her home. And then she immediately gets questioned by the police about her disappearance. Dom witnesses this interaction that Becca has with the police, but he does realize she hasn't given any information to the cops. One of the Valetti family members, Jack, he wants Becca eliminated due to her being questioned by the police. However, Dom lets the family know she's off limits.
Yeah, because one of their main rules is there's no such thing as witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
So Becca's involvement, and she's a woman, that's kind of where Jack is coming at, being like, we have to terminate this threat like we've always done. But obviously Dom having feelings for Becca, no.
No way. He's like, no way. Dom winds up going to Becca's restaurant to get his girl.
Get your girl.
And him attempting to get her to agree to be his is thwarted by another attempt on her life.
Poor freaking girl, man.
This hit was called in by Jack. Jack gets dealt with by the family.
AKA murdered.
Yes. Then Dom winds up telling Becca he's selling his business and getting out of the mafia life, and reassures Becca that her son can have a normal upbringing and that they'll deal with him knowing about the mafia side of the family when the time comes. Becca finally relents and gives in to Dom, and they become an official couple. We do get a time jump 3 years later. Becca and Dom are married with a 2-year-old son, and Becca is currently pregnant with a daughter.
And Dom has gone on to get his PhD in statistics and is now a professor. So that's kind of like his career path. He's still low-key involved in the mafia. He's never totally out of the picture.
No.
But he's definitely not part of it either. So yeah, happily ever after. They got it.
Cheers to Dom and Becca.
Cheers to Dom and Becca, because man, they went through it. In this 243-page
It was a lot for
Woo, Willow. Okay, Alex, so that was a lot to take in.
Pretty good wrap up, though.
Pretty good wrap up. I mean, that is everything you need to know. In a nutshell, essentially. Obviously, there's a lot of sex thrown in, which we'll get to.
Oh, yeah, we got a whole smut talk section.
Yeah, because this book was very smutty, in my opinion. Pretty smutty. So we will definitely talk about that. But do we want to kind of dive into our love and hates for this episode?
Yes.
Okay. So I will start, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Go right ahead, my dear.
Okay. So one of my loves for this book is the prologue.
Yes.
So how Willow writes the prologue, it's only a few-page prologue, but it is in the point of view of both parties, of both Dom and Becca. And how Willow depicts this is by a bold font and a non-bold font. So the bold is Dom, the non-bold or regular is Becca. And so the first scene is literally a smut scene. It's them getting it on in the office when she comes to pay the money that Rick owed.
Yep.
And I've never seen this.
Me either, but I really liked it.
For a chapter, because we both said if it was the whole book, it would be too much.
Yeah.
You can't do the whole book like that.
No, it would get very confusing.
But for just this portion, I really loved it. I was like, I love how it would just go back and forth between the two characters in that moment.
So it's like you're getting the real-time different point of views versus how the rest of the book is chapter by chapter. One chapter is Dom,
right?
One chapter is Becca.
Yeah, and so I appreciated that. And Alex and I, we've continued reading the series, and she does this with the prologues for every book, which I really enjoy. And I'm glad that she brought that element into it.
And that's something I haven't seen yet.
Books. And it was fun. It was like fun to read. Yes, I'm glad that we were on the same page for that one.
So my biggest love is I love Dom.
I did too. I liked him as a lead.
I really liked him. He's one of my new book boyfriends.
I definitely am a fan of like a Dom sub-esque kind of relationship when it comes to like the bedroom. Like I'm definitely here for that.
Oh yeah.
And so like Dom kind of like hit all of those.
Oh, he hit all the right
The
spots.
dirty talk, the innuendos, just
Just enough
oh, yeah.
degradation at times, like
Sometimes a little too far.
for Becca and what
For
she was
Becca,
going
right.
through.
But other than that, I was just, like, definitely here for it.
Mhm. And then also, like, I just loved even Dom outside of the bedroom. Like, he's very smart. He's very much a family man. And then, kind of like an in between of his personality and bedroom side, is like, I like that he knew what he wanted and he went for it.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted Becca. He got Becca.
Yeah. And he is, like, even though he does kind of come off strong and he is very dominant, he is a very, like,
But he cares. Like, he actually
yes.
is caring. And there's parts of the book where, especially after Becca gets kidnapped the first time, like, he's taking care of her wounds. He's running her, like, a salt bath.
He hires someone to take over the management duties while Becca is
Healing.
which is, like, these are just small things that we just like to see with a male lead. Like,
Yeah.
you just want some goodness from your characters,
And, like,
too.
he gets up in the middle of the night to, like, go check on her son to make sure he's still asleep.
And the fact that Dom isn't super involved with the mafia side, so he's not going on hits. He's
No.
not involved in that aspect. But when Becca goes missing, he's frontline.
Yeah.
He is charging in there. He's taking care of business.
He's
Do what you
getting
got to
his
do.
woman.
Yeah, do what you got to do for your freaking girl. I'm here for that. I also like kind of going on, like, talking about Becca's kidnapping and stuff. I definitely enjoyed Willow's multiple bigger plot points that kind of happen in this. It is a shorter book.
Yes.
And Willow, we've read quite a bit of Willow, different series, more so of her darker stuff. And something that we both notice is that Willow is so good at packing in, like, plot twist, packing in that plot. And she
Yes.
does a great I mean, I definitely was on a roller coaster
Oh,
with,
very
Becca
much
Becca
so.
kind of, getting kidnapped and then almost getting assassinated outside the restaurant. It definitely had that mafia-esque, like, the violence aspect. I thought that Willow did a good job at. I wasn't bored. And so I'm a fan of, like, a nickname. And the nickname in this, I don't know, I haven't asked you. So Dom calls Becca doll. That's kind of his term of endearment. How did you feel about it?
So I do like the term of endearment, doll. However, I do think it got overused a little bit.
It was throughout the whole series, every brother has a term of endearment in which they call their female love interest. And I will say, it's a lot. It's almost like every single time he addresses her, he's calling her doll. Yes, so I could see how it was overkill.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute.
It's cute.
Like, I liked the name.
Yeah, I liked the name. It was just
a lot.
It was just a little overkill.
The last thing that I'll mention that I really loved, and that was a little bit different with a mafia romance, but I was not mad at it. In this realm, this universe, this mafia family, I kind of enjoyed that they all actually had a good relationship with each other.
Yes.
I liked that Vince and Dom had a good relationship with their dad, Dante. I liked that Dante and Linda, his wife, had a good relationship. It's nice to see sometimes in a mafia romance these healthy, like, happy family relationships, because you normally don't see that.
Yeah, because you've read a lot more mafia books than I have. And
that's definitely not the norm. It happens every now and again. You will see it from time to time. But for the most part, 7, 8 out of 10 times, it's the son is not going to be getting along with the dad. It's most of the time the dad is a potential, like, bad guy.
And the dad in this was fantastic.
Loved him.
Like, he very much supports all of his children's choices.
I mean, he let Dom leave the mafia.
Yeah.
You don't leave the mafia. I mean, besides being killed.
Yeah.
That's the way of leaving the mafia.
Right.
So it's like, I liked that. I liked Linda. She was just like, and she's just like what I picture an Italian mom.
Yes.
Like, just, she cooks Sunday dinner. every Sunday.
Expects everyone home for Sunday dinner.
Yes, and is just very like loving, supporting mom, and also kind of has Dante on a leash, which I love.
But will call everybody out.
Yeah,
like
she will.
Nothing's getting by mama.
No,
that was one of my loves. I love just the whole Valenti family dynamic. It was needed, especially for a lot of these darker themes and things that happen with this book, to have those warm, fuzzy moments and to get you to want our female main character to join this family.
Right.
Like, if they weren't such a good family, I'd be like, run for the hills, Becca.
Yeah.
Another thing I did love with this book was I really liked the choice with Becca that Willow made, like making her a single mom, making her a couple years older than Dom.
Yes, I forgot about that aspect. Yes, I'm so glad you said that.
And like making her have her own business and being successful on her own.
And like she was the breadwinner with Rick.
Yeah, and how like she was married before, like she's a widower.
And also, I just think huge, underline, bold, the fact that Becca is older. I feel like it's very rare in romance that we see the woman being older. And even it's 2 or 3 years, it's really not that big of an age gap.
No, it's not.
But within romance, it's always the guy. And I feel like it's always like at least 2 years. Like sometimes you get a year. But like for most times, it's normally like bigger age gaps. And the guy's always older.
Yeah.
So I liked that Dom went for like an older woman who also had a kid of her own. Because not a lot of guys, I don't think, would be like wanting to pursue someone.
And you wouldn't necessarily expect like the playboy bad boy that Dom is to necessarily
go for that
and have like that instant love, instant lust for this woman.
And when we say instant love, instant lust, we are not kidding.
Which brings me to a hate.
Perfect. You have the mic.
I realized I'm not a huge fan of instant love.
Me neither.
Like, I'm here for instant lust, but I don't necessarily care for our characters like saying I love you to each other. Like this
3 weeks.
This whole thing is like a 2-week time span.
Until the epilogue, where it's just a 3-year
where we get the 3-year jump. So thankfully it worked out for them. However, I just wasn't a huge fan of that part.
The only time I'm okay with an instant love, because I'm in the same boat. I've kind of over time realized that this isn't something that I personally love in a romance book either. The only time that I can kind of get behind an instant love is if the characters, it's like a second chance, where they've already been together in the past.
Yeah.
That's been established, and then they're coming back into each other's life, and shit happens fast.
I can get behind that.
I can get behind that. But like these people, like
We're
they
strangers.
Becca literally walks into a
bookie
office and they gets fucked against the wall.
Immediately.
No condom.
Yeah.
No protection. Which is one of my hates. Because I just think that in this situation, like this could have easily been a one-night stand kind of thing. And I feel like if you're having a one-night stand, you always have to wrap it before you tap it.
Right.
I just feel like that is kind of the go-to. And so that kind of, I was just like, it's just not smart. I get it, that it's like in the moment. They're living in the moment. It just happened. But it continues to happen and it's not really addressed. Like she takes plan B.
Which I did appreciate that little.
Yes.
Like
which is responsible.
Some additional information with that, her getting plan B. And then
thankfully
she does start to have a conversation. Her and Dom do start to like then talk about their intimacy. So you get a little bit more information as they go along, but at that point it's like they've already had sex a couple of times.
And the only thing that I can kind of get away, like let it slide a little bit, is the fact that Becca does have some like remorse. Like she's kind of being like, you're stupid, why did this happen? Like she's kind of beating herself up over it. So that's a positive, where it's like, you know, in the moment shit happens, whatever. And like she does have that voice in her head being like, you can't do this again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But she does.
But she does. But again, thankfully it all worked out for them.
Yes. So one of my hates is a person, and that is Rick. Rick wasn't even in this book. He's already dead. He's
Yeah.
already gone. And I still was like, every time he was brought up, I was like, this prick.
He was awful. I'm so glad he was already dead because I would have wanted Dom to kill him.
Yeah. And Dom is so much better for
Oh,
Becca.
yes.
Like, Rick was just,
He was trash.
yeah, you always have a character that you hate, right?
Mhm.
Rick is mine.
Yeah.
And Jack. Because
Yeah.
Jack tries to have Becca killed and just can't chill.
Those are acceptable hates.
Yeah, those are the 2 characters on my hate list. I don't fuck with them, okay?
Rightfully so.
And they're both dead, so see ya.
So one of my kind of hates, and this is just kind of a major theme with a lot of Willow's books in general, is I feel like the plot moves a little too quickly for such heavy themes. Like, I want some of these themes to be explored and given more.
Yes. I have to say that with this book, when I flipped the page from that last page of the normal book into
Mhm.
the epilogue, I kind of was low-key shocked that it was the epilogue because it's literally like you have all of this crazy shit going on and it
Mhm.
just abruptly like they get it solved, but then it just abruptly ends. And I
Yes.
don't get any fluff that I'm like, I just want to see Dom and Becca happy. Like,
Mhm.
give me 3, 4 chapters of fluff.
Especially since, like, all this intense shit that they've gone through for the whole book, and Willow does such a good job, like, immersing you into this world, and, like, I'm breezing through this book, like, I need to know what happens next.
I
Oh my
mean,
goodness. Like,
yeah.
you get sucked in.
But then it just kind of feels like a letdown.
Yeah,
It's
and then
kind
it's
of just
like
like, oh,
you're on this high, and then it just, like,
like
immediately
the floor is
stops.
just, yeah, the floor is ripped from beneath you
Mhm.
and you are just,
Yep.
it's just done.
So I just wish we either got more chapters, like, the book was a little bit longer, because again, this is a shorter, quicker read.
Which I'm not mad
Which
at.
I'm not mad at all. Or take 1 or 2 of the heavier
Elements
elements out,
out.
and then it's more well-rounded.
Yes. Yeah, I personally just feel like Willow wants to pack as much in, and I'm here for that. And she does a great job.
She
She's
does.
very smart when it comes to coming up with plots
Yeah, she
and
comes up
things.
with great things that I wouldn't
It's like
think of.
she's 80% there, but
Mhm,
that 20%, it's just the ending portion. So yeah, that was really my main problem with the overall book is just I kind of was just felt a little let down.
yeah.
Not let down enough where I stopped reading the series
Yeah.
because I'm on the last book of the series.
And thankfully, we do start to get some of those fluffier moments as the series goes on, because you still get glimpses of Dom and Becca, because the Valetti family is so close knit. You do start to get some of those fluff pieces and see how they are as a couple. Other characters after this story is over. So, like, it starts to kind of get better
Mhm.
as the series goes on. But then I just keep stumbling into the same issue with each couple.
Alex and I have read multiple books by Willow, and this is just something that we've seen throughout all of her books. So it probably is just her writing style, and
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with it because like obviously we're reading her shit. Like
Yeah.
we're fans, like we like it.
Yeah, definitely like it.
It's just that we personally just want a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just
Just a
like that.
little.
It's
Like
like you
little.
have me sucked in. Give me more.
It's almost like when you go to Olive Garden and they don't offer to top you off on cheese.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that letdown, man.
It's something very tiny, but it's like that.
It's just like
Oh,
it would have
yes.
just been so much. It would have just been like, yes.
It just hurts my heart a little.
Yes. I'm so glad we agree on that one. Those are our love and hates. Overall though, not bad. Let's talk about smut.
Yes.
We got to talk about the smut in this book because there was a lot of it.
There was. So, how many pages was this book again?
234.
So, for a 234-page book, you get 8 full-on smutty scenes.
That's a lot for 200 for the length and what's going on in this book plot
Mhm.
wise. Yeah, that's a lot of smut.
And then you're also still getting, like, inner monologues about, like, lusting after the other. So you're getting even more
Because even when they're not together, it's like all they can really think
think
about
about.
is each
Mhm.
other. So we kind of have a joint favorite, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
which I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, which is the prologue.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, this book starts off with a bang,
With a bang, baby.
with an office bang.
Yeah, with a very dominant, quick bang. Right up against the wall.
Like ripping the panties.
Yeah. That whole thing
So
just,
then Becca has to go to her son's soccer game afterwards with no panties on.
oh my God. I mean, her assistant was literally waiting in the car outside of the office for her.
So she comes out freshly fucked. And her assistant's like, what happened?
Yeah, poor Becca, because Becca is just emotionally going through it right now.
Because what, her husband's been dead for like 3 days?
No, I think it was like 3 months.
Not very long.
It
Either
it
way.
wasn't long. It was very recent. But yeah, this scene and also how it's written is just, and like Dom is just so bossy. Like he's just always like, strip
Yeah.
now. Like get naked.
now.
I need you now. I want to fuck now. It's a little bossy, but low key here for it.
Yeah, like literally, he tells her, strip now.
Yeah.
Hasn't gotten her name, but strip now.
I just need to be inside you.
And it's and I do find it funny because every time he kind of gives the command, he's has that inner dialogue of like, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And like when she leaves, he can kind of tell that she's a little shook. And he's kind of like, fuck. He's like, I messed that up.
I didn't
He's
play
like,
this right.
I went the wrong way with this girl. Whoops. And also, Willow's writing in these scenes, not as dirty as maybe Priest. I don't think her writing was as dirty as Sierra Simone, but Willow really pulls it out. I mean,
Oh,
she
yeah.
doesn't stray away from terms and
She's good at the dirty talk.
visualization. Yes. Yes. So the scene, 10 out of 10. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it started the book off on a good note.
Oh, and I love how he ends it with, thanks for the payment, doll.
As she's walking out, her walk of shame. Poor Becca.
He really kind of was a dick.
He was, yeah. But we love it. Low key.
But then he's like, oh, wait, there's something about this girl. I want her.
Yes.
I need her.
Yes.
I got to make this right.
Which leads me into my favorite, I think my overall favorite scene, which is when he comes over that night to apologize. Or safe word, which here for. And so Becca pretty much like tries to kind of run, but obviously Dom's not having that. And they end up having sex in her like living room on the floor.
Yeah.
And they obviously do not use protection
Nope.
once again. And
After she just beat herself up about that.
yes. And I don't know. I liked this interaction. This is also the interaction where they get each other's names. So it's getting a little bit more personal. I just kind of liked Becca biting him. Like, I think that's like a bad bitch move.
Yeah, this is where we get like a primal chasing, fighting sex scene.
Yeah.
That's basically what this one is.
Yes. And then what was your favorite?
So my favorite is the very next sex scene, which is the same day.
Just that night.
Just that night, a little bit later when he comes back and he lets himself in and they're like sneaking upstairs and Becca was like, quickly kind of chasing Dom out of the house because during your sex scene, she gets like a notification from her assistant that her and that she's like a little late for dropping off her son. So she like rushes Dom out. So he's a little upset about being like brushed off. So
About getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Essentially after having sex.
So he comes back to punish her. And I am into like the punishment side of things. He tells her to get on all fours and take her punishment. Cause something like Dom is obsessed with Becca's butt.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to see that. Like, he just can't stop thinking of
Her booty.
her booty.
She's got a nice booty.
Like, he wants to spank it. He wants to bite it. He wants to put his dick in it.
All the things.
All the things. And again, we get the, the strip now command here. And here we also get orgasm control.
Yeah.
As part of the punishment. Like, don't come until I
can't.
tell you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's like doing nothing but pleasuring her. That would cause her to like climax and orgasm. And he's like, you better not.
You best not, girl. And she doesn't. She's good at being a sub. She's good at being submissive, which is another thing that he finds really attractive about her. Because he is very dominant and he likes that submission.
And during this scene, he's also making her watch them fuck.
Oh, I did love that. In the mirror.
In the mirror.
Yes.
Which was very hot.
I'm here for that. This scene had a lot of things because everything that you're saying, I really liked. The main reason why I didn't pick this one to be my favorite is how it ends. And how it so abruptly ends.
Yeah, this one doesn't end in the best way. This is where he makes the This is where he makes the comment about your husband never fucked you like this. Which,
as he's low-key starting to do like anal with her. And then, like obviously Becca's husband is newly deceased.
Yeah, she
doesn't like him as a person, but
yeah, he's about to, go in the back door, which is already kind of a big thing. It doesn't happen here.
No, because she starts like crying.
Yeah, she freaks out and she's like, I hate you, get the fuck out.
She's like, leave. And so that was really the only reason, because all the other like stuff that you mentioned, like the punishment, the mirror, the orgasm control, like I was all here for it. I just hated how it abruptly ended and how it kind of ended on a negative note, which is why I was like, I can't have this as my favorite. But it was such a good, until that point, it was such a good scene.
There's just so many good things with it.
Yeah, and like with Dom, like you get a lot of dominance. Like that is really the main thing that you're gonna get with these sex scenes,
especially in the beginning. Then things do start to switch after she gets kidnapped, and he does show her more of a softer side.
Well, I think that he starts to like let his emotions show as well.
And then also, like, she comes back bruised and bloodied and broken ribs. Like, she was put through the ringer.
How he found her, we didn't mention this, but how they found her, she was hanging upside down by her ankles by rope, and they were literally waterboarding her essentially.
In a sink.
Like, she had to hold herself up so she didn't drown.
Yeah, it was very intense.
Like, they were smacking her around. Like, it was intense. Like, she got the shit beat out of her.
So when he finds her, and you're getting these sex scenes very shortly after that kind of treatment,
side to him as well. Another thing that we do see from the scene that was your favorite, we kind of started to get into like the butt stuff.
Yeah,
we do get a full.
You do get a full anal scene. So if that's not your thing, skip that one.
Yep. And that's a little bit later.
And it's funny, after because I found it funny, after they have anal, that's when Dom tells her that he loves her.
I didn't notice that. Seriously?
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's like he whispers it like as she's falling asleep. He's like,
oh yeah. Oh my God, you're right. That's hilarious. Dom. What a romancer.
I know. You let me do you in the butt. I love you.
You're mine forever, girl. That ass is mine. But overall, I mean, heavy sex. Detailed. And it's different. Every sex scene is a little bit different. You get the same themes, but it isn't like you're just reading the same thing over and over.
Yeah, the sex scenes aren't being recycled and like regurgitated at you.
No, and even throughout the series,
like each brother kind of has a different kink, different way of going about stuff.
Yes, which it makes it not a boring read, especially when you get like series with like mafia. Sometimes it can be a little repetitive and you're kind of like, this is the same story, just different characters. Thankfully with Willow's, I'm not really seeing that.
No.
Obviously, you're going to have very similar themes through all books.
Like, all the men are kind of dominant, but they go
Yes.
about handling their dominance in different ways.
So, okay, do we want to move on to casting?
Yes, time for the casting call. One of your favorite parts.
And normally we cheat and we discuss our casting calls before we record, but we didn't for this book because we kind of did it last minute. It felt very last minute.
Oh, yeah, it was.
So I'm super excited.
How many did you pick?
So I have 2 for Becca and only 1 for Dom.
Okay.
What about you?
I have 1 for each.
So for my Becca, I'll go with my 2, the one that has 2. So I kind of went little different route.
Okay.
So I think my overall number 1 casting, who I could actually see playing this role current day, is Lindsay Morgan. She's in the 100 and she plays Raven.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, I don't know what it is about her, but that's kind of the vibe that I'm kind of liking.
I like that as well. It's a good one.
Yeah, and a little different because she is kind of more of a low-key actress as well. She's not super, super well-known. But she kills it in the 100. I love that show. So, and then my second choice, which I don't think, maybe I could see her actually being cast. It is going to be more of a mature choice.
Okay.
And it is Nikki Reed, which is Rosalie from Twilight. She's also married to Vampire Diaries star Ian Somerhalder. So
yes.
Those are my top 2 for my female, for my Becca.
For your Becca.
Yeah. So who did you choose for Becca?
For Becca, I chose Camila Bell.
Oh, I'm not mad at that. Okay, we chose very different people. Oh, this is tough because I kind of like all of them.
I know Camila from like the 90s Disney movie Rip Girls.
Okay.
Like, I know she's done stuff since then, but
I think she dated Joe Jonas.
Yeah, she did.
Did she? Yeah, okay. Back in the day. Show our age. That's tough because I really like all of them. They're different. They're all very different from each other, but I like them all the same. Like, I think that any of them would
be great choices.
Yeah. Oh, that was good.
Who's your Dom?
Okay.
Who's your dirty Dom?
So I'm kind of excited about this. So backstory, I did try to actually get an Italian actor. And I was leaning towards the guy who was in 365 Days. That Italian actor, I think his name's like Michelle something. Michael. Very Italian. Sorry, I butchered that. I was kind of leaning towards him. I just didn't think he was like big enough. Like, Dom is bigger than Vince. So like, I'm when I look at my male casting, like I want the body type to be
exact,
kind of similar. So I went with Brant Daughtry. He plays Christian Grey's younger brother in 50 Shades.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, I saw this picture and I was like, that is my Dom.
Yeah.
And like him and his wife could literally be a Dom and Becca.
Oh my goodness, they could.
Right?
That's so sweet.
I know.
I love that.
Me too. And so I was like, yeah, I'm casting both of them.
Except you didn't.
Except I didn't, because I don't know who his wife is. I didn't look into it, but I could have. So who did you choose?
I gotta figure out how to say this name real quick.
Oh gosh.
So my choice for Dom is an Italian actor, Julio Berruti.
I came across him and he's fine. He is. I'm not mad at that.
Like, hello.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't see those pictures in my search.
Those are from his Instagram.
Oh, that's smart. Okay, I mean, I think you win just ultimately because you did go with more of an Italian actor, which I respect. I tried. I just couldn't really find anyone that really did it for me. Should have looked at their Instagram, I guess. But I'm not mad at Brant either. I think either one is fine.
And also, these two together,
I mean, beautiful. For sure. For sure. Everything that we talk about, you can find on our Instagram, Emotions and Potions Pod, all one word, no weird spellings. Go and follow us. We post things throughout the week, teasers, clips, and then we also have a link to our Spotify playlist, which leads me into our next segment, which is our song choice of the pod. And so we, as per usual, created a whole playlist for the whole series for the These Boys Are Trouble. So it kind of, that playlist incorporates all of the family members.
Mm-hmm.
But Alex, how many songs do you have this week?
I have 3.
Okay, you have 3. And what are those?
All right.
Tell me.
My first song is my dedication to Dom and Becca.
Okay.
As a couple. Love Me Harder by Ariana Grande and The Weeknd.
Ooh, okay.
And then, because Dom is now my new book boyfriend, I have a song for him.
Okay.
And it's No Diggity by Blackstreet.
Okay, I like that.
And then I had to pick a song for just the whole Valetti family. And that's Mambo Italiano by Dean Martin.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I like those choices. I think those are really good choices.
What about you? Hit me with you.
Okay.
Hit me with your song choices.
So I only have 2.
Okay.
So my first song is kind of more of a generalized, it's kind of like funny. Like, I kind of think it's funny, but it's Criminal by Britney Spears.
Yep.
Mama, I'm in love with a criminal.
It's so funny. I went to go add that one to the playlist, and it gave me like the little pop up. This has already been added. So like we same wavelength with that.
I mean, I just thought that was a very just obvious kind of. Overall, she fell in love with a criminal, and
I mean, all the women do in this series.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, ladies.
No,
you can find yourself a good criminal out there,
especially if it's a Valetti man.
And my second choice, which kind of, I mean, it speaks for itself, I guess. It's called "Fuck Away the Pain" by Divide the Day, and you added this song, and I actually listened to it, and I was like, first of all, I liked the song, and I was like, oh, this is actually very spot on, and it just. Becca is going through a lot of emotional pain throughout this book, and she does kind of use Dom and sex of a way of kind of healing from that.
Yep.
And so I thought that song kind of just incorporated more of like the emotional. I mean, the song's called "Fuck Away the Pain," so it's not that emotional.
Dom does do that though. He fucks away her pain.
Yeah, and she's happy in that epilogue, so he's doing something right.
He's doing a lot of things right.
Yeah. So those were my 2 top songs. If you want to follow this playlist, we'll have that link on Emotions and Potions Pod. And it's about a 4.5 hour playlist. So I think there's about like almost 80 songs.
Yep. It'll also be in the show description for the podcast. It shows up on Spotify, Apple, and Google as well. I think the link works on all of it.
Perfect. Well, I guess we're kind of at the last portion, which is our ratings. So what did you give this book overall, Alex?
So overall, I gave this 8 out of 10.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Shit. I'm actually very surprised. Very surprised.
I think I rated it a little higher because I kind of knew what to expect with Willow.
Fair.
So some of the things that did irritate me a little bit, I wish were a little different. I kind of figured I was going to run into that.
So you were preparing yourself. Yeah. You were already kind of knowing.
I don't think I'm as critical of it
as
if this was going to be my first Willow Winters read.
Okay. So I rated it based on just not taking into account that I know that this is type of Willow's writing, and I gave it a 6.5.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I've read a lot of mafia. I hold mafia romances at a very high standard. I'm super bougie when it comes to my mafia romance.
Which is valid because I haven't read as many mafia romances as you
No,
have.
I've read too many. So I think that there was a lot of good shit, and I'm not mad at it. Obviously, I've continued to read the series, and I'm going to start the last one tomorrow, probably. So it has no reflection on, like, I still like this book. But just in general, I'd give it a 6.5.
Okay.
So what about the spice out of 5? What did you rate?
I gave the spice a 3.5.
Okay. And I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4 out of 5.
It was really good spice-wise. A lot of it, which is why I gave it that 0.5. But again, there wasn't anything new.
The only reason why I rated it a 4 is because there is, like, anal, and I feel like that is a little bit still, like, more taboo, and I feel like other people might look at that as being a little bit more intense. We're kind of used to it. We read these types of books way too much.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, like, immune to it.
It takes a lot to shock me
Yeah.
at this point.
Yes. But I think that with other people, I think that this book is pretty spicy.
Yeah. I could see, like, I could see giving it a 4, or even, like, if you're new to romance and this was, like, the first series you read, giving it even a 5 spice.
But for you personally, it just
For
didn't
me
hit you.
personally, it's only a 3.5.
Fair enough. So, Alex, are you loving it or are you hating it? What category does Dirty Dom by Willow Winters fall in for you?
It's a love letter.
Okay, same.
It's a love
I mean,
letter.
I love my girl Willow.
I love Willow Winters.
I love her stuff.
I love her dark romances. I haven't read any of her, like, small town second chance romances yet.
Same.
But that's honestly because I'm more so a dark romance fan.
Yeah, once you get into dark romance, you can't go
It's
back.
hard.
It's hard to go back.
It's hard.
Yes. Same. I haven't really read any of the more, like, softer romances. But overall, I think that this book was really good. I would recommend it to friends.
I read it in half a day.
Yeah, especially people who like an intro to mafia. I think this is a good intro because the one thing that you still don't really see with this a whole lot, you do see a little bit more of the interrogations of, like, the mafia side more than Cruel Eyes. But I've also read other artists or other authors' books with mafia, and they go into a little bit more detail, and I just think that adds more of a well-rounded aspect. You definitely get more than less.
I think this is probably a better starting point for people who want to get into a mafia romance than Cruel Eyes, like we did.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be my starting point.
Yeah, I think this is a better starting point. And so, yeah, I think it's a love letter. I think that the series is good. It's a quick read. It's pretty easy to follow. It's not super confusing. So, yeah, love letter.
Love letter to Dirty Dom. Love letter to Willow Winters.
Yes. And that brings us to the end of the episode. So, thank you for listening
to Emotions and Potions,
a love/hate letter.
Today was a love letter.
Today was a love letter to Dirty Dom and Willow Winters. Thank you for the good read, Willow.
Yes. Join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yep. And then make sure just to follow that Instagram at Emotions and Potions Pod. And we'll see you next week. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.